Hello again. I just want to return to the issue of the unsigned statement, what the local authority refer to as their achieving best evidence. So their prime evidence, essentially. Now, I've pasted in the description some correspondence my wife had with Jane Poulter of South Tyneside Council. And what they're trying to say is the statement, or what we received, or what the bundle accepted, so on the Zoom, Rachel Hudson, was an approved copy. And that's quite interesting, isn't it? Because subsequently we've had a meeting with the witness, older daughter, who said she never saw this statement. That was at a meeting that she requested herself. It was in a public place. We were sat in good terms and so on and so forth. And a number of witnesses would have seen that or would have been alerted to any duress during that meeting, which clearly wasn't the case. We left and we arrived on good terms. So let's go back to what was said. So what Poulter is saying is the child solicitor has what we're told is the original, and the others are approved copies, or copies of the approved statement. So let's go back to what was put at the bottom of the statement. This statement was approved by older daughter on the 16th of May 2022 during a meeting with her solicitor and intermediary person's name. A signed copy will be provided in due course. So Poulter goes on to say it was approved during the meeting and so on and so forth. So that raises some interesting questions, doesn't it? Because if it was approved during the meeting, why not sign it during the meeting? Then you have an original. Because it seems that we've got approved copies and an unsigned original, let's say with the solicitor, but no signed statements, even though it said a signed copy will be provided in due course. So a signed copy will be provided in due course, to me, says there's conditionality that this is accepted as approved pending a signature. And this was allegedly the 16th of May, and the final judgment was given at the beginning of July. So that's quite a period to say, well, before I can issue anything, I need to see the signed copy that you said will be provided in due course. Where is it? And if this statement was, we have no idea when it was drafted, one would assume the solicitor drafted it. During that meeting, we don't know. But if it was approved during this meeting and these three individuals were there, why was it not signed? Why not, if you were at this meeting, just say, whilst you're here, take a look through it. If you believe this is accurate, sign it. And then the signed copy becomes the original. And then you can distribute copies of that, including the signature. But it's never, ever been tendered. Now that raises a question, doesn't it? Because where is the evidence this ever took place? Where is the evidence this was ever approved? And because it was never signed. And if it's sufficient just to write up a statement and say this is approved, with no evidence of showing it's approved, why say a signed copy will be provided in due course, which of course was never provided? So really, do we expect a judge, a district judge at the time, do we expect sufficient integrity and due diligence of a judge to go through all the evidence and before issuing an order, which was exactly what was requested by the local authority? Any poignant evidence that we provided, such as videos that younger daughter had not been visited by the social worker and made the claims that the social worker said that she didn't want to return home. Dismissed. Diaries from older daughter with some very, very poignant entries in. Dismissed. So everything's dismissed, and you end up with an approved statement, no evidence it's been approved, with a conditionality: a signed copy will be provided in due course, which never was provided. And that's sufficient. But is it any great surprise when really the process is not about evidence? It's about narrative and building a story. You have an outcome that you want, and you reverse engineer everything, including the narrative, to meet that outcome, which is a long-term care order for both child, so they can be monetized effectively. And you'll notice in the entries I posted into the description that Poulter dodges this question all the time. It's an approved copy. It's an approved copy. Yes, but the approved copy said a signed copy will be provided in due course, and it never was. So when did this statement? Who drafted it? When was it drafted? And if it was approved at this meeting with the three of them, the solicitor, the intermediary, and the witness, or older daughter, why not just get her to sign it there and then? It very much reminds me of the issue I had with the FCA. I wouldn't go along with a witness statement which they effectively drew up and I would be expected to approve, which took no account of how their holistic range of catastrophic errors through their range of responsibilities were intrinsically linked to the allegations in the WealthTech case, in terms of, unless the failures happen, the allegations couldn't have happened, essentially. They are the same thing. And they kind of said to me, well, you can't discuss our role before we intervened in 2023. But that wouldn't be the reality. The reality is you can't understand the allegations without understanding the failures, because effectively the failures would have had had they been addressed and not happened, then the allegations wouldn't have happened. So, they wanted to create a narrative that wasn't reality. And then the subsequent conversations I had with Williams of the FCA by email, which I posted in on one of the channels, where he says, I said, well, I'm not issuing a statement and taking part in proceedings that doesn't reflect reality. So I said, I'll help you with intelligence, which I have done. But I won't, you can't use anything that I say actually in the proceedings. I'll direct you in the right way, tell you where you need to look. But you can't use it, anything I say in the proceedings, because I have no confidence in the integrity of the process, because it's focused on narrative, not reality. And he said, well, we won't accept that. We can effectively use anything you say or produce in any way that we want to. And it's the same effectively, because then you can just create a reality without the authorization of the person who provided the information. So you can present it in whatever way you wish. And it's the same concept, and you can see how deeply corrupt these systems are. And when they try to craft a reality with the Duncan Alger email that I wasn't cooperating, which is kind of a soft coercion there, threats, if you like, by saying, because you haven't gone along with what we demand, we'll accuse you of not cooperating and threaten your career. So it's effectively witness intimidation. And which is somewhat bizarre, because I was still providing them with referrals. Referrals that goodness knows how a competent investigator couldn't have found themselves, after they were chest beating in front of MPs saying they were trial ready. So it's absurd. And the other final thing to look at is, when my wife asked to come and understand this process with Poulter at South Tyneside, she said, no, can't do it here without your legal representatives. Why? Where's that law? Where is that law? Poulter and South Tyneside Council draw down on the taxpayer, the third estate. So effectively, the wealth generating taxpayer, the people who generally generate the wealth to pay taxes to fund this organisation. So she won't. So we've got somebody who consumes the output of the taxpayer, but won't meet a taxpayer. This is the rule of lawyers, not the rule of law. And also organisations not actually want to acknowledge who they actually serve. The same with the FCA. You know, clients rightly victims of the wealth tax scandal, of which the FCA were a major part of. They won't even answer their complaints. They won't even meet them. They won't even discuss anything with them. But ultimately, it's the clients who fund the FCA. As the FCA is funded by levies from the industry, those levies are effectively funded out of client fees. And the same system, the obfuscation, where the entity that's funded looks with great disdain at the funders. And it's the same pattern. So here, I contend, and I will always contend, that if you're going to make life-changing decisions to people, taking children away, you need to do a lot better than an approved statement when you can't even see when it was drafted, no transcripts, no videos, allegedly a meeting, approved at a meeting of 3 people. Why not sign it then? Why put the qualifier signed statement will be produced in due course? Where is it? If the original is signed with the solicitor, why wasn't it provided as a copy? Why is it? Can we expect more of a judge to look at this and say, well, this is all very well, but I'm going to need to see the signed copy, as you said, will be provided in due course. Long time between the 16th of May and the beginning of July. Long time for that to happen. And it never was. I think more should be expected of a judge. And I've taken through, and I'll continue to do more videos about how this was falsified. That's it for now. Take care.